goddamn. See you licking frosting from your own hands. Want another taste of bacon, yes.
And folks, you are back here with KXVS Sports Tonight. I am Alex, here with Kyle Hunt.
What's up?
And now we're joined with another piece of the puzzle. London Mark. How you doing, sir?
What's up, guys?
What's up, King?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, we're doing great. We're doing great, having a good time. Like we were saying, we're talking about the All-Star game previously, first segment. But now, I know you got some interesting news with this big trade that we're going to get into. Let's take it away.
Man, so just to reset, after the All-Star game, that was last night, so much has happened in the situation since then.
Right.
DeMarcus Cousins was traded to the Pelicans. They traded along with Omri Caspi to New Orleans, which is where they had the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
How convenient is that?
Right.
The Kings in return get Buddy Hield, Tyreek Evans, and I just blank on the third guy's name because I have no clue who he is. I've never heard of him before in my life before.
Yeah, Langston Galloway.
Galloway, that's right, Langston Galloway. And they got a first-round pick for this upcoming offseason, and they got a second-round pick for 2019 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got some pieces. Not only did they trade away Omri Caspi and DeMarcus Cousins, they're also going to cut Matt Barnes.
Mm.
And so there's obviously, this is probably the biggest trade that we've seen at the trade deadline in a very long time. I can't even think about when the last time we had a trade this big around All-Star break, around trade deadline time. I know we talk about it almost every year, especially over the past couple of years, but we haven't really seen anything. And so, of course, there's all the questions. Vlade Divac, who is a former King, former Laker, but most probably played with the Kings. He's now the GM. He was never a GM before.
Right.
He's the president of basketball operations for the Sacramento Kings. This is his second year as GM, third year in the executive office for the Kings. So there are a lot of questions for him. Questions like, why did 2 weeks ago did you say that DeMarcus Cousins wasn't going to be traded? Why did you trade him, and why did you trade him for the value that you traded him for? You basically traded him for, some people would say, 50 cents on the dollar. Why did you come out and admit that there was a better deal on the table 2 days before that you just didn't take? And so there's a lot of questions.
Oh my God!
What do you guys think about this trade? Off top.
What do
you guys think about it?
I think it's crazy. I think I think any time. When is the last time we've seen a player of Cousins' magnitude and fortune in the league get traded at any point in the last?
I was thinking a few years ago, and it wasn't not putting him on his level, but maybe at that time it's kind of comparable. But remember when Memphis traded Paul Gasol to the Lakers when Paul Gasol was still in his prime and he was still averaging like that 2010, and he went and he changed that Laker team drastically because they weren't good.
No.
They just had Bynum. Bynum was in and out of the lineup, and they basically got Paul Gasol, which ended up being a lot of foresight. But for Marc Gasol, who turned out to be just as good, different type of player, but still just as good.
Yeah.
But they got him in, and really at that time, nobody knew who Marc Gasol was.
No.
Marc Gasol wasn't the Marc Gasol that we know now,
No,
and that's the only trade in recent history that wasn't vetoed that I could see being similar to the Boogie Cousins trade, where you got a great big man in his prime, and so that was it, man.
Yeah, he's fourth in the league in scoring, 27.8, and he's averaging 10.6 rebounds.
He's only three players averaging 20 and 10. I know me and London kind of talked about that stat earlier. It's only him, Anthony Davis, their teammates, and then Russell Westbrook are the only three in the league right now that are averaging 20 and 10.
Wow. Yeah. You knew talks were rumbling in Sacramento because they were getting tired of it always comes up the attitude of Cousins. Is it worth it versus the skill, and how many coaches are going to be there? And you've heard it. You just didn't think that they would pull the plug just because he was the only player in Sacramento.
And Vonnie kept saying that they weren't.
Yeah, and then to come back and do it, it's it just makes them look. I think they look worse in this situation than anyone else.
It shows that they don't know what they're doing. That's how it looks to me. Go ahead, London.
I think it's hard to look at because when you look at who DeMarcus Cousins is, like you said, he's averaging 20 and 10. And he's a guy that could go for 30 and 15 on any given night. As a big man, he could put up 40 on you, 50 on you if you let it get out of control, depending on the night that he's having. I mean, he's, without question, the best big man in the league. And so he's going to a situation that's arguably better. He gets rid of Drew Holiday. He has more space down low for him with Anthony Davis. I mean, I think that they're going to be shooting threes like crazy in New Orleans. But I personally think the move is because I think it's best for the Kings that they moved him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard as a fan to get out of that mindset of like, oh my God, we just traded away our best player. Probably the most talented player, arguably, that we've had since, Oscar Robinson?
Yeah, or
in terms of talent and what they could do.
That's true, yeah.
And so, like I said, there are the questions that were being asked of Lottie. There's a lot of people who are highly critical of the move, not only because of the move, but in terms of what they got for it. There's a lot of speculation in terms of, okay, now we have these picks. Now you have to go forth into this draft and make something out of these picks.
Oh, yeah.
And if you haven't listened to the Vlade Divac interview, not the press conference, but the one with Grant Napier, I know Kyle loves Grant Napier, but you really should go back and listen to it. And basically what Vlade Divac said was, I'll try to boil this down as little as make it as concise as I can, is that he made the trade because he felt like he didn't want to sign DeMarcus Cousins to a max deal because he didn't feel like DeMarcus Cousins deserved a max deal because DeMarcus Cousins, as good as he is, he's bad for the culture.
Right.
And so it was either do nothing and then risk losing DeMarcus Cousins and getting nothing because DeMarcus Cousins wants a max deal, or get the value that you can get now because the value was going down and down on him in terms of what he was going to be able to get. And so, of course, the questions were asked, why did you say that you weren't going to trade him 2 weeks ago? And he said, because 2 weeks ago he didn't have any offers. No one was ringing his phone to make a deal. No one really wanted him 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
There was no one calling him up about DeMarcus Cousins. And so he believed at that time that there was no move that was going to be made because he thought that there was no interest in DeMarcus Cousins, which is probably right, which makes sense because right around that time was when they were talking about giving him a $200 million extension.
Yeah.
Right? When there are no offers on the table for him. But as the deadline got closer, in terms of the trade deadline, then things start picking up. All-Star Weekend hits. You have all these GMs rubbing shoulders together. Stuff starts happening. Let's talk about the deal that he had 2 days ago, or the offer that he had 2 days ago, that was apparently a better deal than the one that he eventually ended up making. He said that offer was never a solid offer, right? They were talking about it, and he was trying to make something happen.
It's about the
and
magic
he thought
deal?
that it might happen, but the team never agreed to it, right? There was never like, hey, we're going to do this, like we want to do this, just say yes. He was trying to get that team to do something and to make a trade that he wanted, but the team backed out.
Are you talking about
which
the
is why
Magic?
that deal never happened.
London?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you talking about the Magic deal? The one with the Orlando Magic?
He didn't say
because I think
who
that was the only
with.
one.
If that's who it is, I wonder who he was trying to get over for him.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so I what's going on with that deal? Or nothing now.
Yeah, it's nothing now. But I remember I had briefly seen it. It was a Magic deal. It was gonna be, I know, like a first round pick. I think either Evan Fournier or some other wing player, and I'm trying to think who their other big trade piece was. But I know it's gonna be a draft pick, either Evan Fournier and some other guy for Boogie Cousins. But I guess maybe like you said, like it was just kind of hearsay. They maybe were filling it out still, but I think that the Magic ultimately didn't want to do it either. But I just kind of want to go back to this. You made a comment about what Vlade said. Vlade said he's not good for the culture, and I'm trying to, without being disrespectful, understand what culture the Kings had since 2002. Like, what is the culture? Vlade was a player. I don't still buy into Vlade as a GM. Like, he gets guys that are, that other teams don't want, and they're trying to get him, like, he's bringing in better talent, but they're getting rid of coaches like Mike Malone that your star player says that he wants. Like, I don't see Cleveland doing that. I didn't see.
Let's be fair.
I didn't see the LA doing that.
Let's be fair. Vlade Divac didn't make any of those moves, right? Vlade Divac hasn't had that kind of power. Like, Vlade Divac didn't get rid of Mike Malone. I think Mike Malone is the best coach that DeMarcus Cousins had. The fact that they got rid of Mike Malone is an absolute travesty, right? But let's just go back to last year, what they had on the team last year, right? So you had this guy DeMarcus Cousins, who, if he's playing on any other team, he's probably a superstar, right? He's putting up the numbers, right? He's not a superstar because he doesn't bring wins, right? To be a superstar, you have to win. You can be an all-star without winning, but you can't be a superstar without winning. Last year, they had DeMarcus Cousins, Rudy Gay, Rajon Rondo, and then a cast of role players. Some of them young, some of them veterans, well, what have you, right? But Rondo, he led the league in assists, right? So with that, I mean, I know, and there's tons of other dysfunction that's going on within the organization. Nobody can deny that, right? I mean, that's just the way that the organization has been run for the past, 10-plus years? And with the way things were going with Coach Carl, that didn't really work out. Him and Coach Carl butted heads and that was mostly in terms of how Coach Carl wanted the team to be run. Coach Carl wanted to run a run-and-done type of play. Rajon Rondo and DeMarcus Cousins wanted them to slow the game down. And so there's a philosophical basketball impasse that they reached, and they never got along. But I think I think that team that they had last year was really talented, and they couldn't make the playoffs with those three pieces. And I think that the Kings have had a really talented team. Like, I think the team that they have now is extremely talented. I think that they have the pieces right now, if they were able to put it all together, pre-trade, obviously, to put something together and make a playoff push, like a serious beyond 8-seed playoff push, if they were able to get their stuff together. And when it comes down to the culture, and this is why I tie it back to the culture is, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is winning, right? And a real, true superstar, a guy that's putting up these numbers, he has to be bringing in wins. He's been in the league for 7 years. And so I get the frustration, I get the confusion of why do you trade your best player away for what could potentially end up being peanuts. It's because Vlade Divac is trying to bring in guys that have his name on it. He's trying to attach his name to it. And so that's one of the questions I was talking to Alice about off air that I really want to ask you, both of you, to see what you guys think. Because DeMarcus Cousins is not Vlade Divac's guy. Vlade Divac came in, and DeMarcus Cousins was there. And obviously, if you have a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, you want to work with him. You want to see what he can do, what he can bring to the team, and how you can work with him. Obviously, he's a tremendous talent. But when do we start to fairly evaluate Vlade Divac on the guys that he has brought in? By guys like Scal or like Malachi Richardson. Like, these are his first-year players. This was his first draft. And we're not going to know. And so Vlade Divac talked extensively about how it was a hard decision to make about DeMarcus Cousins, but he didn't think that he deserved a max deal. It's about getting the best value for the team because the value was going lower and lower as the trade deadline got closer. And so the question basically is, when do we get to evaluate Vlade Divac in terms of what he's done and what he's been able to put on the floor with players that he specifically put on the floor?
I guess we can start to rein it in on him now. I mean, what else is there to hold on as an excuse? A lot of people were using, I think, DeMarcus Cousins as an excuse as to why the Kings haven't been good. Oh, they can't get a coach to play with them. Oh, they can't get players over here because nobody wants to play with that attitude. But now there's no excuses for you to hold on to now. So what can you produce now? I think that's something that, especially for, I guess, for Sacramento fans, is something that they'll probably have to start looking at. But it's Sacramento at the same time. The market is not that big. Who are you really going to get unless you're giving money? And if you don't think DeMarcus Cousins deserves money, who does? And who are you willing to give it to?
You got guys like Grant Napier who's going to blast you for everything that you do. But I've seen interviews with Grant Napier talking to Cousins and not sharing those same sentiments. Now, maybe he did personally. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't have anything against Grant Napier. I just think he's kind of a hothead at times. But I guess to answer your question, I would have. I mean, maybe Vlade was warning people, because if you look at last year's draft, he drafted 2 centers. He drafted Willie Cauley-Stein, and then he drafted the other guy. Well, I'm sorry. Is this Willie's second year or is this first year?
Willie Cauley-Stein. This is Willie Cauley-Stein's second year.
Okay,
but he didn't draft Willie Cauley-Stein. Willie Cauley-Stein was not his guy.
When did Vlade come? Did Vlade come last year?
Willie Cauley-Stein, this is his second year in the league.
Right. So I'm asking, when did Vlade come? Because I know Vlade drafted like 1 or 2 centers last year, and everybody was like, "What are you doing?"
He drafted Papagiannis, and he drafted who's the other center? I'm gonna say Scal. I'm gonna say Scal's the other center.
Yeah. So good. Yes. So, but still, even there, drafting 2 centers, and you have arguably the best one in the league. That right there was speaking volumes.
That tells you a lot.
That tells you what Vlade was thinking.
That tells you a lot, that you don't trust the team that's going to get better with him on it.
Exactly.
That's it right there. But I mean, at the same time, take the history really away from it, of how many coaches have been there and all that. You have to understand one thing: he was going to be a free agent at the end of the season.
You had to get something.
You had to get something if you didn't think he was going to be that guy, that piece to go forward. You had to do something at this point. If you lost out on the Orlando deal and the better deal, at this point, if he's not that person you think is going to be there, you got to get something for him.
Yeah, and so I mean, think about the Kings team that Vlade Divac played with. I mean, that team had so much chemistry. I mean, they're called the greatest show on court. They're basically Warriors light, right? The Warriors now, like a light version of the Warriors, except the only difference was that the Warriors have star talent, right? Guys who could play anywhere. The Kings did not. The Kings had guys who would be role players anywhere, good role players, but they all fit together and they meshed. And it works in a way that it had never worked before, in a way that we had never seen it before. And so I think another good example of a team like that would be the Detroit Pistons when they won in that year. A bunch of guys who, are really good, but they weren't superstars either. And so I think that's what Vlade Divac, I think that's what he envisioned as that's the kind of best team to have. And when you look at a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, 17 technical fouls to this point this season. It's his 7th year in the league. He reached 17 technical fouls quicker in this year than he has in any other year previously. What is he doing to the culture? What is he doing? Coach after coach after coach after coach, right?
Yeah.
Look at this year. They still have a losing record. They're lucky this year because the West is down this year, which means that even though that they have a poor record, they still have a chance to get into the playoffs.
And that's because KD left. I think that's the pure domino of KD. I think if KD doesn't leave OKC, I think the West is still strong, but I think they're just as strong because, the Warriors were a great team. The Warriors are a great team. I still think that they could have beat them. I still think Russell, KD, and you still bring in Victor. Like you still trade away Serge. You still bring in some more shooting. Man, I don't. They just those two together. No matter how people say that they make contrasts, and Russell wants to win, man.
Yeah.
Russell plays. Russell doesn't care about feelings. Russell don't care about friendships while he's on the court. KD is a little bit different. KD, he's very socially aware of himself, which is nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I think that plays into the way that he operates as well. Kind of how Bron is. Bron is very conscious of what he does, like even like the littlest things, and that can be good in certain aspects, but it could be definitely bad. Yeah, and I think that pressure got to him. And then, not to mention, Draymond was sitting there talking to him all season, texting him and talking to him and seeing if he can get him to like come over, which I thought was kind of whack, because I'm like, the Warriors were 73 and 10. No, I'm sorry, 73 and 9. I'm sorry, and you were one game away. You had 3 chances to win one game. Like, do you really need KD? No. Yeah, it's great to have him, but KD should have been like, and it kind of went back to what me and Alex were like talking about in the first segment. Where does pride come in? Where does that onus, like, I'm going to go at him? Now, I'm not saying don't go play with the best players, but it's different if it happens. It's different if it's in the off season and you guys just kind of talk about it. Like, I don't know if you guys listen to the podcast with Wojnarowski, Adrian, and it's called The Vertical Podcast. And he was talking to D-Wade, and they had this interview. And D-Wade said, people think me and Bron and Chris Bosh planned it. He said no, because even D-Wade's owner was like, hey, do you during the All-Star break, before he made the choice to leave, he straight up asked Dwayne, like, hey, do you think we have a chance to get Bron? He said no. He said we have a 0.1% chance of getting him here.
Wow.
This is his best friend telling the owner, what's his name? Oh, I forget his name, but anyway, telling him no. They're talking over the summer, and LeBron's talking to him, and they're like, man, what if we could get it together? This is during the summer. This is still not planned. He's like, well, maybe we'll talk to our agents and see, and see what happened. Then they talked to Melo. Melo was talked first, not Chris Bosh. Everybody thinks those three planned it. They kept having meetings. That happened naturally in the summer. Like, hey, what if we could do this?
Right.
This KD thing wasn't a let's talk over the summer. This was planned. This was happening throughout the whole year. That to me is bullcrap. Like, if you want to go play with your best friends, go play with your best friends. Power to you. Mm-hmm. If it happens in a way where it just timing, the money matches up, everything works out. That did not happen with the Warriors and KD. Draymond was trying to get him over there.
Let's say this. Like, I think you laid it out perfectly. Because, and it's something that Alex and I have talked about at length, right? So let's put together this. We know that Roddy Divac doesn't want DeMarcus Cousins because he thinks that he's bad for the culture. Roddy Divac said in the interview today he doesn't want to play for an 8 seed. He doesn't want to play for a playoffs 1 year. He doesn't want to play for right now. He wants to build a championship team, a championship culture, right? Mm-hmm. Let's look at the league, right? You talked about 2 teams. You talked about 3 teams. You talked about Oklahoma City. You talk about the Warriors, you talk about the Cavs and the Heat, right? Look at the talent structure in the NBA right now. There's absolutely no parity in the league right now, right? Last year and the year before, we knew exactly who was going to be in the finals, and it happened, right? We said, it's probably going to be the Warriors and the Cavs. It was the Warriors and the Cavs last year and the year before, right? And so if you're not winning, then in a way, you're not doing anything. If you're not doing this, if you've done something for 7 years and you've gone through coach after coach after coach, and the common denominator is this player, and you need to figure out a way to move on so that you can even try to compete with these teams, right? Yeah, the Warriors didn't need KD, but now they have it. Like, so what are you going to do? Not only do they have KD, but now you have to play them 4 times a year in your division.
Yeah, it's,
right?
Yeah.
But really, all I was going to do is just make it even worse. Then, if you go off of that, you already think that there's no parity. By this, it's just going to be more. I just think it's gonna happen a little bit more, and because it goes back to that competition. Guys would rather team up than beat each other.
Yeah. Now I could see if you're like trying to stick it to ownership. And because I feel like players should dictate what they do, because
which is different though.
Yeah, right. Which is because I always tell people when they give me that argument, people don't care. But I also see it from their point of view. If Bron gets hurt right now, say he tears ACL, God forbid he doesn't. I don't know why I'm even putting it out there. Mm-hmm. But say he has a real bad injury. And say he comes back and he kind of does like the Kobe thing. Like where he's not really good, his body just finally broke down. Mm-hmm. Do you think that those people are going to care? Do you think that they're going to cut him slack, or do you think that they're going to go crazy and like, hey, we need to cut him. Hey, we should trade him. Hey, make sure you don't give him the Kobe deal that's going around being said now, because that's what D Wade wanted that Kobe deal, and Pat Riley was like, we're not doing that,
right?
And that's why D Wade plays for the Bulls, because he felt like, I took all these pay cuts, I did what you guys asked me to. Although I'm not gonna go out there and maybe I don't play every game, maybe I don't average that 25 like I used to. Mm-hmm. Pay me. Pat Riley was like, I'm not gonna set our franchise back to give you 3 years at $48 million, $50 million. When
you're playing 15.
When you playing 20, 21 minutes, giving me 18 points a game. Mm-hmm. Kobe can get away with that, but I bet you people don't do that again.
Oh, no.
I bet you LeBron could do that if he's playing in Cleveland.
But I don't know if Bron has a major injury. If he doesn't come back that same way, because you got to also think about it. Dan Gilbert and Bron aren't cool. It's different. Kobe and the Buss family are family. Mm-hmm. LeBron and Dan Gilbert, that is a business relationship only, strictly business. And Dan Gilbert is still hesitant, or was until Kevin Love got hurt, to still spend more money. Although he promised him that he would spend money to bring championships. After Dan got that one championship, everything else went out the window. So I don't know if Dan Gilbert will give LeBron that same love that Kobe got from the Buss family.
You know what I see LeBron James? I see LeBron James like, this is going to be a weird comparison, but almost like a Peyton Manning. Because his knowledge and his basketball IQ is so good. It's so great. He's a great player. He sees everything. He's aware of everything. Kind of like what you guys were talking about in terms of the difference between Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. Right? He's aware of everything that's going on the floor. Mm-hmm. He wants to manage everything. He knows what it takes to get to the finals, obviously. He knows, right? Kind of similar to Peyton Manning, who knows what it takes. He knows how to read defenses. And even if he's not playing top-notch ball, he's still going to be a great asset to the team, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know what kind of deal Peyton Manning got. I don't know the numbers of the deal that he got from Denver, but I feel like it would be a similar deal basketball-wise if he wasn't playing as well. Because I still think that he would bring a lot to the table that would help the team.
Yeah.
That's just my comparison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely can see that. I just know, man, it's just, I just wish it was different. Now, I kind of want to get you guys' thoughts, if you don't mind, on the other side of that trade. Now, what happens with the Pelicans? Because this is going to be my take, and I'm going to let you guys run with it. I don't believe Alvin Gentry is the coach. I don't believe, even with this new surges of talent, they may win in spite of him, but I don't think they'll ever be championship level until they get rid of Alvin Gentry, because they never should have got rid of. That? Because Alvin Gentry has always inherited teams. Like, even when he went to Phoenix, that wasn't his team. Whose team was that? Mark D'Antoni's team Mark D'Antoni's system. That's why they got there, and Mark D'Antoni's players.
You're right
That's
about
why he was in that Western Conference Finals. If you look at his other stops, because Alvin Gentry coached for the Pistons after Larry Brown and them left. What did he do? Nothing. He's better as somebody to bounce ideas off of people. I don't think that he is that I'm going to get you over that hump coach.
Or like the bridge between
Yeah.
the old coach and
Exactly.
the one coming in, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's fair to judge him off of what happened and what's happened this. Because this, correct me if I'm wrong. No, this is his second season, right, coaching this team. Because he left the Warriors after they won. Because he was an assistant coach to Steve Kerr the year that they won the championship, right?
Yes, he was.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So he had last year, and then he had this year. And this year they've had a bunch of injuries. Drew Holiday missed a bunch of times because his wife Lauren Holiday plays for the U.S. women's soccer team. She felt she had brain cancer, so she's been out. I mean, it goes
I'm
back
talking
to that
about
question.
history, though.
How
I'm
much
not talking
time
about
do you
this
give
year.
him?
I'm just talking about history. His history shows he's never been that coach where you're beating down his door and saying, "Hey, he's gonna instantly change your team." Like numbers show that your team goes to the playoffs after his second year. Blah blah blah. He's never been that coach to me, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe things will change, but like the Alvin Gentry I've seen growing up and what I've come to know, he's never been that coach where I'm like, yeah, they got Alvin. Alvin's definitely gonna take him there.
Yeah. Well, looking at his coaching career, he's only coached 5 years where he's coached the full 82 games. And his best seasons were 2009 to 2011, where he had
Phoenix, right? Yep.
54 wins and 40 wins.
And whose teams were those? Mark
And what system
D'Antoni
were they running?
teams.
That running game.
Yeah.
What,
exactly.
3 seconds and up.
Yep.
So yeah. It's hard to deny that argument. It really is, because when I look at him, I haven't ever said that I've never thought of who should get a next spot. Him. It's always been, something happened with the head coach. He comes in to be the interim. Nobody's really looking for him to put him over the top.
Right.
This will be the last thing I say, and then I'm gonna let you guys be for the rest of the night. Thank you guys for I'm not taking my call, but for catching me in. I do think I will agree with you on this, Kyle. I think that if the Pelicans do not, in fact, end up making the playoffs with the talent that they have on the team, at least getting that 8th spot, I think you're right. Alvin Gentry might be gone after this season.
Yeah.
And then that also might affect what DeMarcus Cousins does. But I think that if they at least make that 8th spot, DeMarcus Cousins is probably going to want to stay if they at least get to the playoffs. If not, there's going to be a lot more questions, and I think he's going to want to hit the open market.
And also, too, think about this. Because the Pelicans could have said no, right? They must know something that we don't. So say if they did say yes, let's go through with the trade, I don't think they're doing it on a rental basis just for the A spot, because they gave up their 2016 first round pick, like you said. This year's upcoming, whether they're in the mid-20s or not, as far as their draft pick, Cousins may have said, I'm willing to recommit if you guys do trade for me. Because that's what GMs do. GMs always have to take into that, take that in mind. Like, if I do get this guy, I don't want to do it on a 3-month rental basis. I gotta sign him, because that could be his job. And so I wonder if like Cousins maybe talk to AD, say, hey bro, we're Big Blue, like alums, I wonder, hey, let's do it. Especially with him never playing with another superstar.
Yeah.
He's always have to been the man to do everything.
And they kind of, can go back and forth, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Davis can kind of stay out on the outside and work that, but he can come in the
Exactly.
paint when he needs to.
But he can shoot too.
And Cousins is a little bit different. He can stay in the paint and give it to you, but then can step out and shoot the mid range and the three a little bit. So it's interesting to see, especially nowadays when it's the three is heavy. It's guard driven or that medium with 6'7", 6'8", being able to 6'8" to 6'11", being able to do pretty much everything kind of position. And now they have two, I guess, real big men on the same court, but superstars. Yeah, it's different to see right now, and I think it'll work. I think it'll work.
They might balance each other out,
right.
wise.
Right.
They might balance each other out, and who knows? Who knows what's going through DeMarcus Cousins' mind right now? I mean, that's the one person that we really haven't heard anything from, because he's not on social media after he got his last technical. He's deleted his Instagram, his Twitter. He was never really on Facebook. But who knows what he's thinking? All we really know from DeMarcus' camp is that his agent said that it was unlikely that whoever he was traded to, if he wasn't being traded, that they would re-sign with them, or sign an extension with that team,
right?
Yeah, before at least hitting free agency.
And that's a big question. And looking at the Pelicans roster, they really don't have anyone else except for them too. So it really is going to come down to what they think or what Cousins thinks him and Davis can do together, and what the Pelicans kind of convince both of them in what they can bring.
Yep.
ASAP.
Exactly.
This is it right here. This is it right here. Cousins and AD, they stay. They don't make the playoffs. They fire Alvin Gentry. Guess who comes in to be the coach?
Who? Mike.
Calipari.
Oh, really? Man,
he already said he's not coming.
Calipari, he's overrated as an X's and O's.
Cut his mic.
I agree.
Yeah, he could though.
All right, guys. I'm out of here, guys.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Take care, London. Thanks, man.
Yep, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I know you have some other things you need to do as well. But I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
But both shows.
Yeah.
We didn't overload you, did we?
No, but I definitely got the itch. So I definitely will want to come back in.
Oh, anytime.
And just, especially on the sports show, come in, man, and spend some time and just talk.
Anytime you get that itch, man.
Yeah.
You can come in, we can call in. You see he was able to. But yeah, any final thoughts?
No, man, just one ball basketball. Like I talked about earlier, if you want to get your kids signed up, go to oneballbasketball.org. If you want to just teach your kids what good basketball looks like, watch college basketball. It's on constantly now.
Yes,
especially with football being off. You catch it on all the major networks, and especially Saturdays too. And just work hard at your game every day. If you say that you love it, your actions will show love. If you don't, your actions will show that you don't.
Right.
So just go at it every day.
You heard it here, folks. Go at it if you love it, kids. I'm Alex, here with Kyle Hunt. You heard that was London Mark. Rise and Shine 209. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 to 10. Other than that, like London says, be nice, folks.
La probabilidad de que sea varón. 1 en 2. La probabilidad de que crezca jugando fútbol. 1 en 19.